Katie, have you ever tried spinning, like going to a spin class and getting on those bikes and like just going for it?
No, I haven't. Part of the reason why is because of where I live. So I live, I wouldn't say deep in the woods, but I live far enough away from the city that there's not really a spin studio or a spin class near me. There is one at the Y, but it's never worked with my schedule. But I'm also really uncoordinated, so I'm always afraid that like these bikes are so small and that I would just like tip over with one wrong move. What about you,
Aren't they
Kerry?
like bolted or something? I feel like they're
The
bolted.
bike? No, I'm not. I would tip
Like
off the
you would.
bike, I should say.
Oh, I was like, no
No, I
more.
wouldn't tip the bike over, but I have
Oh.
ridden hard enough on the stationary bikes that like I've definitely gotten them to move. So, probably not a safe bet. Kerry, have you
No,
spinned?
I have not. So I feel like that looks like cruel and unusual punishment. Like every time I see a clip of spin class and they're like, yeah, come and get spin. It's such a good workout. I'm like, that looks like it sucks. And I can't get past my own like my own feeling that it would be a bad experience for me. So I do other things. I mean, not at the moment, like with pandemic, I don't do like nothing hardly. But normally I'm like a walking light weights, like yoga type person. Spin class is a little too like ham for me, like hard.
Well, we're talking with someone today who can tell us why we're wrong. So, you know what, Kerry? It is time to punch out. On today's episode of Punch Out with Katie and Kerry, we are talking with Cathy McPhillips. Cathy is the Vice President of Marketing at the Content Marketing Institute. Welcome, Cathy. We are not talking about work today. I guess first and foremost, I want to know what your reaction is every time you see one of those coordinated dance things on a spin bike where people are like flipping their leg over the handlebars and everything. Like, is that reality? Is that what happens in a spin class? Because if so, I'm out.
Oh my gosh, absolutely not. The spin classes that I go to are chill, good music, dark room, no one's yelling at anybody. And that's why I love it. I started doing it when my now sophomore daughter in college, when she was 6 weeks old, when I was like, okay, I gotta get this baby weight off and I need to get out of the house a little bit. And I just fell in love with it.
So what about it though? So every depiction I've seen, like I watched Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, and they have is it Spirit Cycle? It's like a takeoff on Soul Cycle. It's
Right.
Spirit Cycle, and so that turns out to be literally like a cult on the show. Sorry, spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, but don't do it on the show. But like, is that what it's like in real life, where like you're in the community, you're one of us?
It is. And I think that one of the reasons I liked most about it is because you're in this dark room, you're pedaling on this bike, you're not going anywhere, and you just have time to completely decompress. You're going fast enough that you can't think about anything else. So your day, you have 1 hour where you're just focused on yourself. And there's this pack mentality that if the person next to me, you kind of get on the same rhythm. If the person next to you is messed up, it kind of messes you up a little bit. You really need to focus. So I don't want to be the person who's messing somebody else up.
So really, you don't want to be next to Katie.
No, nobody does. I might do it like a flying kick accidentally or something.
Come on, get it together, Robert. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Well, so when I go to I could still go to the gym, I would there was 2 rowing machines next to each other. And if I got in sync with the person next to me with rowing, I would purposely either speed up or slow down so we wouldn't, because that always weirds me out.
You're so broken, Katie.
Well, the intention for spin class is really to get in the groove, so it's not quite as creepy.
Well, so you really can't do it next to Katie, not because she can't keep rhythm, because she won't. She'll be like,
oh no, I can keep rhythm. I just don't like when everybody is completely doing the exact same thing. So I guess a class in general is not the best option for me. Okay. So I've always imagined that when you go to a spin class or something, that you have the instructor at the front who's just walking up and down the rows of bikes, yelling and all that stuff. Is that not true either?
No, that's not true. It's very, the place that I go, it's very, everyone's friends with each other, or, friendly with each other. And it's very encouraging. And does it get a little bit out of hand sometimes? Yeah, but it's no anger. It's a no anger zone.
Does anybody fall off? That was Katie's main fear, that when you do a spin class, she feels so uncoordinated, she could actually fall off the bike. Is that a realistic possibility or no?
To fall off the bike, I would say no. But before I got spin shoes that I could clip into the pedals, and I would wear my running shoes there's the, I can't think what you call them, but when you put your feet in, And if you're going fast enough, like one time my foot fell out and like the pedal came back and just jammed the back of my leg. And that was not, I'm like, I'm going to go get spin shoes today.
See?
So
injuries are real.
You need some equipment, Katie.
So
but you
I
didn't
started
just
going.
do spin. You were like a spin instructor now.
Well, and I wouldn't go that far. But, you know, when I started doing it, like I said, I think one of the things I loved about it was the music aspect of it, because I just love music. So just having fun music, being able to exercise, burn off some energy. And then, yeah, so that's really, you know, why I love doing it so much. But yes, so I have a big milestone birthday next summer, and I wrote my bucket list of some things I wanted to do. And one of them was to be a spin instructor, because I think I'm pretty good at it. And if you can't, you don't really need to be spin certified, because there's not an official certification, but you can go to different programs to kind of take these classes. So I went on a whole weekend, Friday night through Sunday night, and went through this phenomenal weekend. It was almost like a retreat / training program. And I am now able to go teach. And then the pandemic hit. So I actually looked yesterday to see if there was like the local YMCA or anyone that I could just maybe go volunteer and teach some classes to folks that were older and wanted to give it a try. And no luck so far, but we'll see.
Even more dangerous.
I'm like, I better learn CPR before I do that.
Come on, let's go, people. Don't be lazy. Katie, does this like align with what you were thinking the experience would be like? Because it seems very different.
Not at all. Not at all.
Well, my funniest spin story, I'm sorry, Katie, I just cut you off.
Oh, no, please.
I was in Venice Beach for a family vacation, for a family reunion, and I went to a Soul Cycle in Santa Monica. And I walked in, and you go in and you pick your bike. So on this little map when you sign up. So I picked my bike, and the instructor came up to me at the class, and she was like, I'm sorry, I'm going to move you. And I picked a bike near the front, because I don't like to see people around me. It's very distracting.
You like to look at butts?
Yeah. So I was like, okay, whatever. Maybe people have their favorite bike and I'm in someone's spot, and whatever. I moved, and I kept up with them the entire class. And afterwards she came up, she's like, I'm really sorry. I just didn't think you could do it.
Oh my God, that's rude.
So I was like, well, yeah, I did.
Wow.
It was fun.
That would make me mad. I'd be like, well, suck one. I'm going to go to a different class next week. I'm not going to be here for years.
And I was like, I'm on vacation. I'm going back to the beach.
Yes.
Probably a good idea.
Yeah.
Spinning on vacation. No.
Kerry, there are people who like to work out regularly. You and I are not of those kinds of people, but there are those people.
No. It's called a workout. You're on vacation. You shouldn't be working at all of any kind, in or out. I don't get it. So you mentioned that the music was such a big part of it for you, Cathy. Has music always been important to you?
It has been. I think it started in high school when my group of friends, it was just, you just heard, I hear a song. Actually, yesterday, one of my friends texted me. He was listening to Howard Jones. And he texted me and he's like, whenever I hear this, I think about you. And I've got a number of friends like that just, it just brings back all these memories of growing up and the fun times and everything. So I think, my first concert was Donnie and Marie. That just shows you how old I am, with my grandparents and my sister. And that did not spark my love of music, but it definitely was a fun.
Are you a little bit country or a little bit rock and roll?
I am definitely more country. That's not true. I like everything. I really do. I don't like country, but I like pretty much everything else. But I love like indie singer-songwriter. That's my favorite right now. And I love the 80s and 90s.
80s
well, you're wearing an Indigo shirt.
I actually was like, am I going to dress up for like work today or for Punch Out? So I went through, I'm like, I'm wearing this today.
You couldn't wear that to work. I feel like at Content Marketing
Institute.
I
totally could. I work from home.
Totally wear that. So for those who can't see, we're recording live. This is an Indigo Girl shirt. I have a Universal t-shirt that has Bellatrix Lestrange on it. And it says, have you seen this witch? It's like her wanted poster. So we all dressed up today.
Yes.
Yeah. I am once again wearing black. So
your signature hoodie.
And a hoodie.
It does have a hood.
Yes. In case she has to hide so that Cathy doesn't drag her to spin class.
Oh my goodness.
So when you get those messages from people that are like, hey, I heard this song and thought of you, do you have to do the math and be like, wait, are they thirsty? Or are they just like, I just like music a lot? And they, because, you get some weird messages at this point in our lives from guys that thought they knew you in high school.
No, this is
Hey.
one of my oldest friends from like middle school. So
Okay.
no, there's actually
So
a
no
group of us that's no creepiness.
That's good.
There's actually I don't know, a group of us that we like went to concerts together, and from high school into college and still today. And one of my friends, Dave, and I, we swap music all the time. He's in Chicago, and he'll just say, "Hey, I just heard this new band. I thought you'd love them." So we're on Spotify together, and we'll just keep shooting each other, listen to this and stuff. So it's pretty cool. And I'm actually known with my friends. We all went to Nashville actually 2 years ago for just all of us, like 7 girls got together. And one of my friends got some of those hats that say, I'll bring the booze, I'll bring the fun, I'll bring whatever. And they're like, we couldn't find an I'll make the playlist hat, but that's what we really wanted to get you that, because I make a playlist for everything. Ooh, we're going to Springfield, Ohio on Friday. I'm like, I'm going to get something for the car. So I waste so much time making playlists.
It's not wasted, Katie.
No,
that's
it's not wasted. It's not. My husband he's always making playlists for, we have a playlist for when we're sitting outside on the deck, or for when we're driving somewhere versus driving home from somewhere. He has what he calls the Drive Safe playlist. And it's a playlist of all songs that I know all the words to, so that I can sing along with it, so that I stay awake while I'm driving.
Nice. That's very helpful and fun.
I was just thinking about Reno 911, that show, and it's a comedy show. And there's this one scene where the guy's like, "Oh man, I was just having the weirdest dream." And his partner's like, "You're still driving, right?" My mind went right there.
It's true. So what kind of playlists, so I know that, you take daily walks and you obviously travel, or you were traveling a bit. What are some of the kinds of playlists that you make? Are they all music? Are they upbeat or relaxing or podcasts? What are some of the things that get included on a playlist for you?
Well, I have a bunch. So depending on what mood I'm in, I have some if I'm doing yoga or I want to be in yoga-y mindset. I have some if I'm running. I like to pretend that I run sometimes. So yesterday I did, and I stopped a bunch, but that was all upbeat, obviously, just so I could, because with spinning, you spin to the beat of the song. Mm. So I take that mentality and figure if I'm trying to run, I probably should run to the beat of the song as well. So, and then I'll always hear stuff. I love in Spotify when it'll show you, okay, you like these 5 songs, listen to this one. I find a lot of new music that way. And actually the other night we had some friends over on our patio. We were all within our far away from each other. And my husband started playing this playlist. And I'm like, this is an amazing playlist. He goes, "It's yours." I was like, oh, I love it so much. I'm like, she has really good taste in music.
You're like, I am awesome. I know. That's amazing.
Plum forgot about it.
Yeah.
There's definitely times that I'll listen back to the episodes of Punch Out that Katie and I have done, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm a smartass. I forget the stuff I say until well after. So I understand what you're saying.
But I made one for Nashville of all songs from the 80s when we were in high school. Mm-hmm. I made one when we went to Colorado. And then, it's just give me a reason. I was talking to Stephanie, who's my manager, and I made a comment about how I always make playlists for each of our events for, piping in and all that. Mm-hmm. And I said, I actually have a playlist of all songs with orange in the title. And she's like, why? I'm like, I don't know. It just seemed like something we might need one day.
On brand.
I definitely want to check that one out, because I'm interested to see.
Not that good.
Really?
No.
Okay, well, because I was going to say, I'm interested to see what songs actually mention the word orange.
Yeah, it was a stretch.
Can you tell us now? She's like, I don't remember one of them. She didn't remember her own playlist, Katie. I don't think it's going to work.
Crush, REM Orange Crush.
Okay.
So there's one.
That's all I got right this second.
That's a short playlist. You never did say how long it was. So.
It was just that over and over again.
I guess that's it. Yeah.
No, but see, you could probably take it a step further. Maybe No Doubt Tragic Kingdom, which has oranges on the cover, or the artist Vitamin C, which is technically what comes from an orange. You might have to squint your eyes a little bit.
She's
I like where you're going with that.
I feel like Cathy's a purist, though. Would you do that or no? Does it have to stay orange, or?
It's my playlist, right? I could do what I want.
It's true.
Yeah, that's fair. But you didn't actually answer. What would you try to do? Would you try to find,
if you can tell me that my idea is crap, it's fine. I feel
like that's a lot of brain power to make a playlist. But for you, I will.
I'm gonna get this random playlist and I'll be like, did I ask for this?
I got a playlist from a guy once. It was really odd. I went to South by Southwest and met this guy, and for like 2 seconds, and he made me a playlist on Spotify, and he's like, "You have to listen to it from first song to last song because there's a cadence." And I was like, "Mm-hmm," and I didn't. And so I didn't ever talk to him again because that felt like the thing to do when somebody does something like that for you. So how do you make playlists for someone in a context that is not strange and off-putting? I guess is what I want to know.
I guess like if it's going to seem strange, I wouldn't do it.
Like if you met somebody 2 seconds ago.
It's probably good life advice.
Yeah.
When
you make a playlist,
though, strange, don't do it.
Is there a cadence to it? Like, are people supposed to listen to it, or can they like in order, or can they shuffle it?
I always shuffle it, except for my spinning playlist. I have about probably 25-ish spinning playlists that I've made, prior to all this. And then I actually bought a spin bike at the beginning of the pandemic, so I could do it. And those I just do in order because there is, first you start off and you're just trying to get in the groove, and then you're climbing, and then you're sprinting, and it kind of goes like this. Mm-hmm. So those have to kind of go in order.
Have you ever created a playlist where the song titles sort of like spell out a secret hidden message? / could you
what?
I feel like I'm canceling all my plans the rest of the day.
So there's playlists where like the first word of each song title, if you read them in order, spells out. Maybe I just have too much free time.
But then if you shuffle, it's just a mess.
Well, no, you're not supposed to shuffle.
Oh, you're like that guy. You have to play them in order because there's
yes, I am. Kerry, I am that guy, actually. I was in disguise. I was at that event. I was there to creep you out.
There's a message in it.
Okay, so a real question for you, Cathy. That was a real question, but apparently it was a bad one. The real question is, what are some of your favorite songs that sort of like get you hyped up to like, do a live event or a public appearance? Like, do you have those like songs that kind of like get you amped up to go do something important?
I feel like I should have prepared for this question because I have like so many songs. I mean, anything I could say on air? I don't know. I do like a few rap songs if I'm really trying to like just balls out sprint, which does not happen very often. But
you can say them.
Do you use the Office Space soundtrack for that?
No, there's some Jay-Z.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's a really good question. I'll have to go to one of my playlists and send it to you.
Yeah, you forget what you put on them after. So,
what about you, Kerry? Do you have any songs that are like I'm going to listen to this to get amped up to go do something?
Well, let me look, Katie. Because I do actually have some Spotify playlists, as a matter of fact. You didn't think about that, Cathy. You could have just looked and like cheated.
Well, I want to kind of keep eye contact with you.
Oh, that's okay. I won't be offended.
She knows how these work, Kerry.
What is the audio podcast? I do what I want. I actually have an NSF Kids playlist. And I have a Kicking Arse playlist. So there's a lot of Dropkick Murphys on it.
Nice.
Some Aerosmith. Let's see. A little bit of like AC/DC, The Clash.
So one of my favorite songs is Mr. Blue Sky by ELO. Like that's got to put you in a good mood.
So that one we have to write down because I haven't heard that one.
Yes, you certainly have.
And it has blue in it. So if you make a blue playlist, you're going to need to.
Yeah, I think maybe that's sort of like your next challenge is playlist by color.
I feel like there's a market for that. I should look at other events and say, hey, I'll sell you a playlist.
Yeah.
On brand.
You should totally do it. You also do volunteer work, Cathy, and we don't know what it is. And now I want to hear all about it.
Well, I'm one of a zillion kids. And my mom, when we were younger, it was very important for her that we were out doing things for others because we didn't grow up with a ton. So she always wanted to make us realize that we were very fortunate. And then it just kind of continued. And then the story I was going to tell you is when I was a senior in high school, I got called down to the office, which would never happen. Like I was such a goody. And I was like, oh my gosh. And of course, everyone in class is like, ooh, Kathy's in trouble.
No, it happened to us all the time.
Yeah.
So I went down there and the principal said, so I went to a huge high school where there were actually 4 houses, they called them, 4 different principals. And he called me down and he said, just ask me questions, how are things at home? Have you started applying to school? How's your family? Are you working? 10, 15 minutes tops. And I'm like, all right, thanks. And that was it. And I went back and everyone's like, what happened? I'm like, I don't even know. That was really weird. So a few weeks later, they called me back down and they said, okay, we interviewed 8 girls, 8, women. And we asked them the same questions. And there's this man who lives in the town who his wife had passed away, but while she was alive, they started saving money for their daughter to go to college. And their daughter passed away.
Ugh.
So they wanted to send a girl to college so they had a daughter that they were sending to school. So over the course of these interviews with the different principals, I was picked. So this man paid for me to go to college.
Wow.
And, I would go see him on breaks and, talk to him and send him my report card. And he's like, I don't need your report card. I'm like, it just seems like the right thing to do. So spent a lot of time with him. And then he met my son and he passed away shortly after that. So I've been trying to I'm like, okay, I can't afford to send a third person to college. I have 2 of my own, but I'm going to do anything I can to help other people. So I've gotten involved with No Kid Hungry, which is in DC. It's a child hunger group, and Orange Effects Foundation, which Pam and Joe Polizzi started, who are my former bosses. And they help children with speech disorders get the therapy they need or devices they need to communicate. And then one of my girlfriends started a nonprofit here in Cleveland about helping young adults who are aging out of foster care stay on their feet. So I don't do a ton for any of them, but it keeps me busy. So I'm on the board of 2 of the 3 of them.
Wow, that's amazing.
Amazing story.
Yeah. And you look back on it, you're like, wow, that's crazy. And I didn't talk about it for a really long time. I don't know if you know Beth Capes. She's in marketing here in Cleveland. But I was telling her one day, and she was like, you have to write a blog post about that. I was like, that's not my thing. But the more I talk about it, I feel like it's helped some people as far as like keep doing good things for people and whatever. So
like pay it forward.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did you make him a playlist?
I did not make him a playlist. Darn it.
Feels like a missed opportunity, Cathy.
I feel like back then it would have been a mixtape. And that might have been creepy. That might have been creepy.
Yeah.
I mean, did this whole thing start because you were making mixtapes for people?
Like the whole playlist
thing? Yeah.
Playlist.
For sure. One Christmas, I made my sister, who's 13 years younger than I am, I made her an entire, like one of those like holders that held 30 cassette tapes. Mm-hmm. I made her an entire thing of just playlists. And she was, looking back, I'm like, that was really weird.
But she was so young. She didn't know. She's like, my older sister's so cool.
But then I would decorate the covers and I do drawings and it was very elaborate. And
did you name them? Like, did you title them?
Yeah. They were all different titles and they all had different themes. And I would cut things out of magazines and make this. I spent a lot of time on it. And I actually asked her not too long ago, where is that? And she was like, well, I think I might have thrown that away.
I used it for a doorstop for a while and then decided I liked the door closed.
At the time, she was like 12. So she thought it was just the best thing in the whole entire world.
Now, really did you go through that phase where you could only record songs off the radio? So you had to like get like right in when the DJ stopped talking and start the song or like cut that piece out? Because that was always my challenge with making mixtapes as a kid, is that as you're recording off the radio, the DJ talks through half the song.
Right.
It was really annoying.
Well, yes. And back to the thing about living with a million people, I'd have my tape recorder by this speaker that's as big as me. And I'm like holding it really close to it. And then someone walks in. I'm like, you guys, I was like, oh, like there was like 5 seconds of the song left. So sometimes it took a long time to make playlists.
So you said a million. How many siblings did you have?
So my mother and father had 6. And then my mother remarried and he has 5. So there are 11 of us.
That is a reality show.
It's like, yes. But we all get along. There's no drama. So Took a minute for us all to get along, but we
Right?
do. It's a
I'm
great.
gonna be honest with you.
fun.
I'd be like, maybe I'll find a childless guy. Unless I wanted to like open a restaurant or something.
Right.
No.
Have a baseball team, whatever.
Man, it must have been crazy at your house at Thanksgiving.
Well, when they got married, I was in college, so it was not so bad.
No, for you.
Yeah,
It
for you.
wasn't really my problem, like super my problem. I get it. I
Yeah.
hear you. That attitude I can relate to.
So one last super important question for you, Cathy. So in season 1, we interviewed John Wall, and John used to make playlists, and we discovered that John and I have both named our playlist something jams, like summer jams, winter jams, but jams with a Z. Does this make it the way into your playlist? Like, do you name your playlist? Does it include jams with a Z? Because if not, I might be a little disappointed and ask you to create one.
I'm just picturing jock jams. Like, remember that when that was on? That was a
Oh,
big
of course.
thing. No, I don't think they use the word jams, but I would always pick out a lyric from a song, one of the songs in the playlist. That usually was the first song in a playlist. And now I sound like I have this whole method, but
Because you do.
because apparently I
No.
do. But I'd pull out some like just, inspirational or really meaningful lyric from a song, and that was what the playlist was titled.
Whereas Katie, you made up titles from whole cloth. Like,
Oh, yeah.
okay.
Totally bananas words. Like, didn't have to make any sense at all.
When Pulp
Whereas,
Fiction
like,
was
Cathy,
out,
you probably gifted your sister a whole playlist called The Wind Beneath My Wings, which is much more meaningful than my summer jams.
awful. When Pulp Fiction was out, I was in college, and Dan made me a mixtape, and the title was Royale with Cheese.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, right? I thought that was pretty clever. I was like, he's a keeper.
I gave my bridesmaids, by then it was CDs, where I burned them all CDs for their wedding gift. And I have since apologized to them for giving them a dollar gift for my wedding.
It was
It's
a
the
thoughtful
thought that
gift.
counts.
I got a book too. So
They're like, I'm so glad I bought this dress and you gave me a CD.
although my dresses were $39. So
Nice.
yes,
That's pretty good.
hideous, but $39.
Fell off the back of a truck or something.
Well, I went to a store and they were all on sale, and they were every size I needed was there. So I just grabbed them all.
Wow, you were organized, like you knew what sizes they were before. Because I promise you, my sister would not have thought of that at all.
Yeah, it just kind of happened upon it. It was weird.
That's like, and you know that about all your friends? You're like, she's a 00, she's a 14, and I think she's gone from an 8 to a 10. Like, do you just know that?
They were dresses from like Talbots, so they didn't need to be like fitted formal gowns. You know what I mean?
Like, I know
I don't know.
Katie's gone up to a 6. No 4 anymore. You're very sorry that you did this, aren't you? But you're like, you should take a spin class. You should do.
I didn't spin back then. I don't know what I did back then. I drank beer with my friends back then.
Oh, so yeah, I suppose that's not as good as spinning for keeping you in the 00 category. I've never approached the 00 category. I mean, firmly in the double digit category.
No, I don't. I'm like, did I just jump from like a 6X to just an adult size? I don't even remember anything in the middle of that.
Like suddenly you're a grown up and you have to shop in the grown up section.
Right.
Oh, I feel like that's a sad playlist. Look what happened to what happened to
sad trombones.
What happened to shopping in juniors?
Yeah, I have no recollection.
No.
I just got my sister's clothes because I was number 2 and I just wore what she had.
That's not so bad. I mean, unless she was a 00, that would be a problem.
Well, we grew up in the 70s, and like we drank Kool-Aid and ate crap and Wonder Bread and bologna sandwiches and spaghetti, and we were like this big. I'm like, what happened to those days?
Do you remember Pixie Sticks? You'd be like, oh, and it was just sugar.
Pure sugar.
Yeah, like mainlining sugar. Mainlining sugar. So, Cathy, where can people find you if they want to work with you, if they want to do something with Content Marketing Institute, or they need a playlist?
Oh, well, in that case, I'm your girl. Twitter, I'm C McPhillips. LinkedIn, I'm Cathy McPhillips, and contentmarketinginstitute.com and contentmarketingworld.com are the company websites. And Content Marketing World actually is coming up next month, is coming up in October, and it's our 10th anniversary. So I'm really excited about that.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank
Playlist and all in place for that?
Playlist is ready.
Okay.
I can't wait.
Not final, but it's coming.
All right, Katie, are you going to try a spin class now?
Absolutely not.
Well, when you come to Cleveland next.
Yes.
She's going to make. So Katie's like, let me just make a note to never go to Cleveland.
All right. So when I go to Chicago, Ginny is dragging me to Soul Cycle. And when I go to Cleveland, you're dragging me to a spin class. So apparently I need to like get on this and actually practice before I go with some pros.
Oh, they'll just put you in the back like they did to Cathy that first time.
They'll be like, oh yeah, she definitely can't do it.
If you go to Chicago to go to Soul Cycle, I'll drive to Chicago and meet you and go to Soul Cycle with you.
Done.
Oh, wow. And they'll be like, follow me. Your bike is right out here. It's like in the alley out back.
Like, Katie, just go back in the car. It'll be fine.
Why don't you just wait? Bye-bye. Thanks for talking with us, Cathy. This was so